Okay, so we all agree that Let's Not Gonna Have His Nipples Pierced in season 3. Y'all, oh my God, here I was minding my business, waking up from a really nice dreamless slumber, which is rare. I dream all the time. And, I'm getting my eyes adjusted, answering some messages, scrolling through some things, checking some notifications. And the moment I open my Instagram app, it is Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire page with the season 3 art and a 2026 microphone graphic announcement. Un momento. Oh my goodness. Okay, if you're here because you regularly watch like my podcast episodes when I'm talking, logistics and production and plot and storyline, like this is not that. This video is purely based on my obsession, so nothing reasonable nor logical is going to be said today. We're going to be talking delusions, we're going to be talking fanfic ideas, we're going to be talking headcanons, we're going to be talking all types of piercings, where, when, how, and was Louis there while this was happening. Like, there's nothing of like substance or intelligible. When they say intelligible. And why did I have to say it the negative way to get to the positive way? Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of unintelligible nonsense and a bunch of just blabbering about what I think gonna happen in season 3 of Interview with a Vampire. So yeah, this is your time to jump ship. But if you're curious as about like what I look like when I be fanning out, then go ahead and stay, because I rarely afford myself the public opportunity of showing my obsessions, and I don't know why. I need to talk to my therapist about this, but the group chat knows. They know. And the first thing I told them was, I'm getting in front of my camera and we're gonna talk about this, so let's talk about it. Okay, for those of you who are unfamiliar, go watch season 1 and season 2 of Interview with a Vampire on AMC Plus. The first book is split up into 2 seasons across 15 episodes, and it is from Louis de Poindulac's point of view, played by the great Jacob Anderson. Now, the big thing surrounding season 1 and season 2, just a quick synopsis, is memory is a monster. Louis' memories have been altered by Armand, and so what you think you know as true in season 1 ends up getting completely blown up in season 2, and Louis finally realizes and the truth comes out about Armand being the one to direct the play that was supposed to kill him and actually did kill Claudia. And he finds out that Lestat is the one who saved him, because people from the Talamasca got Daniel the original script with all of Armand's handwriting and all of his annotations. Y'all, I'm doing something very important right now, and now is not the time to get the Zooms. Thanks. Okay, so he goes back to New Orleans, and you get to see him just absorbing the city, absorbing his birthplace, and he finds Lestat, and Lestat is sitting in his room. And I'm still gonna say that Lestat purposely made himself look damn near like a skeleton just to get more sympathy points, but you know what, it is what it is. It just seems like the dramatic thing that Lestat would do. I mean, I would do it. If my man believed that I killed our daughter 77 years later, and then I finally felt his heartbeat back in the United States, and then it was getting closer and closer and closer, baby, I love you, but I'm also about to look down bad real quick just to, test the waters, because maybe you came back here to beat me up. I don't know, but I'm gonna look so bad and so terrible and so remorseful that we can kind of get some sympathy points. And turns out, even with Lestat standing there and Louis standing there looking all put together, he had his Yankees hat on and shit and a little bomber jacket, and I'm just like, sir. But we're gonna get to his wardrobe later. And Lestat has on this robe from over a century ago, and his shirt is all tattered and torn. He looked like he has not bathed since he came out the ground, y'all. And you know, he's guarded, and it seems like everything that Lestat thought he was going to say and everything that he braced himself for, the opposite completely happened. And Louis, in a way, just kind of like spilled some feelings, things that he would have never said prior to this moment, and it completely undoes both of them in the way that this vulnerability and candidness happens from Louis. It even tears him apart, right? And so at the end of the season, they're hugging it out. Louis like, you know, I'm companion enough for myself. For the first time in Lestat's life that we've seen, there's a humility there. He's not rubbing anything in. He's not digging and jabbing to try to get a rise out of Louis just to get some attention. And per Roland Jones, you know, written in the script, cut the mics, and Jacob Anderson, Sam Reed, Lestat, and Louis can have something that they say to each other that is just theirs, and the world may never know. So that brings us to season 3. So if you didn't see the long face, like Lestat getting interviewed by Daniel Malloy teaser last year, go on YouTube, go watch it. It's so much like chaos in that whole thing. You got somebody with a tattoo that says Armand was right. You have Lestat sitting there like a diva, Lestat with chest hair. Okay, we're gonna explore this as well. And it's just a magnitude and a mess of emotions, and Sam Reed just honestly delivering Oscar-worthy reactions in this little clip and in this teaser. And we also get an amazing song, which is so different from Come to Me, which was the song in the thread throughout the entire first 2 seasons of Interview with a Vampire. And we still ain't got no video. The song's still ain't on Spotify, but you know, whatever. not counting down how many days we've gone without it at all. But we are here now, and we have a picture, and we have at least a year in which it's gonna come. Now my gut, I don't know if I saw it on the picture, but I just feel like it's gonna be May of 2026. I don't know if I read this somewhere, if I just superimposed it onto the poster myself. And my phone's not near me, so I can't confirm right now. But I'm feeling like it's gonna be May of 2026 through June of 2026. Happy birthday to me. And it's gonna be a fun time. Now, getting into the good stuff. I'm only like 16, 17 chapters into the book. So in the book, I'm past the part where Gabrielle is turned into a vampire and they're getting stalked by the Coven. And Gabrielle's like, listen, we need to get up out of here. So I have no knowledge of Lestat's background story other than what I've inferred from tweets, other than what people have answered when I've asked about different things, like when I'm specifically asking the book readers, like, what does this mean? Where did this come from? And the world in which fanfic writers can create their own original stories, including the backstories of Louis and Lestat from the first 2 books, while also putting them in some other AU thing so that you can still feel connected to the character. So this is about as much knowledge as I have. Now, I am a reader and I fashion myself intelligent as well. So it's just kind of like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going. But like I said, this video is not about my knowledge of industry, my knowledge of plot, writing, all these other things. I am just here as a fan, and I'm just trying to guess and speculate like everybody else what's going on. So in no particular order, I want to first say that I would love to have Lestat's version of the night that he met Louis, because in season 1 Louis like, well, I didn't notice him there, but we see Lestat in this ridiculous ass 1700s top hat and top coat, looking and staring at Louis, and him pulling out a knife on his brother being like the thing. Now we can say, you know, Lestat maybe when they were going on their dates and stuff was like that, like, oh yeah, I checked you out when I saw you pull a knife on your brother, and I was just like, oh my god, a killer after my own heart. But in the books, right, Lestat buried himself after losing Nikki, and he buries himself for 100 years, and he is like lost. This is a man that's always looked for love and never got it. It seemed like the more he chased, the more love ran away from him. And so to see Sam read Lestat's point of view on what he actually thought and felt and what was internally going on in his mind when he saw Louis, I think would really just do more in the shattering that the last 2 episodes of season 2 did for season 1. Because at this point, it seems like the more we go forward and the more we get more sides of the story, the more season 1 is just shattered piece by piece by piece. And the way that that storytelling is amazing. It doesn't make, at least for me, it doesn't make me hate season 1 at all. It makes me love season 1 more because it's really about that space of how trauma can shape memories and how some of the most traumatic moments, which may be true, when you're in those moments, you're dealing with physiological reactions in the fight, flight, or freeze mode. And so everything that's in your periphery becomes blurred, not only as this thing is being done to you, but also as you're remembering the situation too. If you saw the trial episode in season 7, you're seeing Louis being like, you know, you lying, like you was the one who was saying come to me, I wasn't fucking saying come to you, all this other stuff. But then the more Lestat is talking, and he's like, how do you not know that it was your mind calling out to me and I was simply answering? And the more he was telling his side of the story, even Claudia looking to Louis and being like, is this true? And Louis has to now fight through the haze of all of the destructive memories that he's crafted in his mind about Lestat. On top of, during the trial, he's still unaware of Armand altering a lot of his memories anyway. And he's fighting through this thing, and then we get the memory of Claudia's actual turning. And you see that it was Louis who selfishly begged for this and made stipulations around her turning. And he finally just nods his head. He doesn't even speak. He just nods his head, and Claudia has to sit there with her life in the balance, getting the truth, right? Getting a truth, right? Because at the end of the day, season 1 and season 2 is told through just reconstructed memories through Louis' POV, and of course through the master manipulator of it all, Armand's POV. But in that trial and in those tiny little moments in Louis' memory, even when he comes back, he says to Daniel, you should go with Lestat's version. Sir, I can't get no peace up in here. So when you think about when Louis first talks about Lestat coming to him and seeing him for the first time, in season 1, there's like an arrogance to Louis, like, yeah, I was getting chased, and this man, he wanted me, and you know, this, that, and the third. But then by the end of season 2, where he sees Lestat again, all of that arrogance and bravado from the both of them are gone. So it's like, from Lestat's point of view, a man who was literally just trying to hop, jump, skip throughout the United States, became so enamored and so infatuated with Louis. And through Lestat's point of view, and not only his thoughts and what he's actually craving in this world, I would love to hear what Louis was like thinking. Did he see him in his periphery at all? Because at this point, the Armand fans or the Armand stans or whatever, the ones that are like strictly team Armand no matter what he does, you know what, that's great for you. But I remember in season 1, by episode 3, I think I tweeted, I don't like this Rashid person. Something tells me like he's off, this, that, and the third. When we got the reveal that he was Armand, I literally was like, oh, I hate this man. I'm like, something is amiss. So season 1, I didn't watch with the fandom. I was late because that whole year that it came out, I was gonna have a whole bunch of other stuff. I wasn't even on Twitter, first off. I was living in the real world, living in real life. Didn't even hop back on Twitter until the spring of 2024. And so I got to watch all of season 1, and then I watched season 2 with everybody every week. And so I'm just like, no, there's something sinister about Armand. Like, why is he always there? Why is he interrupting Louis? Like, no, like something is going on. Y'all say he's strong, something else is going on. And everybody was like, no, you just don't understand plot and story and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, aside from the fact that I'm a filmmaker myself and I've been studying like this industry ever since I was a child, even my wife, I had her watch it, and in season 1, she ain't know nothing. She ain't know these books. She don't know no vampire. The only thing she know about the Vampire Chronicles is through me. And in season 1, I think it was like episode 6, she was like, why is this butler always hanging around? So then when the reveal came, when she was watching season 2, she was just like, why is he constantly speaking over here? I'm like, this is somebody who has zero investment in any of this. Sir. Okay, so yeah, she has zero investment in any of this, and she just kept saying like, I don't like him, I don't like him, something is sinister. So when the whole thing came where Armand is the one who orchestrated all of this, I actually liked Armand at the end of season 2, because I'm just like, finally, like the truth. That sneaky, snaky, you know, doe-eyed, pretending to be so meek and so weak, and literally like propping Louis up to make him feel like he has power, because you can see through his mind that he always felt that there was a power imbalance between him and Lestat, and so you use that to manipulate the situation to make him feel like he was on equal footing with somebody that was 300-400 years older than him, and completely shielding him from maybe going back into his memories and thinking that he was the one with the real power in the relationship with Lestat, because everything that Louis thought and felt Lestat was going to do, no matter what, right? So Armand, one of the greatest villains, and I think that the TV show did a really good job at showing the level of his treachery and how the roots run deep. And so a lot of that is around the very first meeting. And so I want that first meeting. I need to see Lestat seeing Louis for the first time. And I feel like there's going to be a softness in that, and something that's not predatory. I can't even talk. Something that's not predatory. I think from Lestat's point of view, we're gonna see those soft moments that Sam Reed talked about at the Ankler. Was it the Ankler? No, at Deadline. And we're gonna see the soft moments, the ways in which Lestat was nervous. I mean, this man ain't ever been on a date. He already had to hide his sexuality from the year that he was born. You're still in a time frame where you're going to jail or getting killed for being gay. So in this, Lestat don't know how to date. He's just winging it. The fact that we even got something that looked like dating from Louis' memory is like a plus, right? Because I feel like from Lestat's point of view, from Louis' point of view, there was more bravado, there was more courage, there was more finesse. But I feel like from Lestat's point of view, that man is gonna be a nervous wreck. He gonna be trying to like hide all of his blood, sweat, and all types of stuff. I feel like he walking around with hella hankies to make sure that Louis doesn't see that he's not a real human being, because he's so nervous that this man won't like him for who he is. And so all of those soft moments that we got to see in Dreamstat, which was an echo of Louis' own memories, I feel like we need to see that from Lestat's point of view. We need to connect this and also use it as a catalyst of, even with Louis being companion enough himself, and maybe getting back into having conversations, maybe some FaceTime, some texting, some phone calls with Lestat. They can talk about the memories, you know, remember when, blah, 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 and having Lestat's point of view for some of their softer moments, because Lestat knows the moments that he fucked up in the relationship. We don't need to rehash that. But how can we help Louis remember that there was love in the household, not only between Lestat and Louis, but between Lestat and Claudia, which in the movie, we saw that version of Lestat reading her bedtime stories, doing her hair, picking out her clothes, and all these other things in the show. And I love how they did this in the show, especially with Louis' point of view, and just making this into a TV series instead of a movie in the first place, is propping Lestat up to be hated, especially during season 1. Propping Lestat up to be hated elevates Louis' new original storyline, because in the books he basically fades into the background and he's just like a little prop. But Roland Jones already said, like, Jacob Anderson is gonna be here. This is a love story. You don't have a love story if you only got one vampire. And with each series, Interview with the vampire changes, but the vampire that Lestat loves ain't changing. It's still gonna forever and always be Louis de Pointe-du-Lac. So I love how in writing it, they elevated the things that would make you hate Lestat to prop up Louis' memories being so altered, and Armand distorting the things that make him look good, all for it to come to the top and then shatter like fragile glass. And it makes way for the purpose of Dreamstat and how that can move forward in season 3 from Lestat's point of view. Because Dreamstat, even though Armand felt him, even though Claudia more than likely felt him, it was still something that was never outwardly spoken, but you can feel the love. Even the moment that Lestat first came as a dream, as a hallucination, looking bloody and everything, even with him saying, I'm gonna wait until you're happy and then I'm gonna fucking kill you, Lestat was still the most beautiful ass creature, even in Louis' own mind. So in season 1, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. If you look at Lestat in season 2 and then you go back and watch season 1, Lestat was kind of ugly, y'all. Lestat was kind of ugly. His hair was frizzy all the damn time. He was just always on edge. He was hot and he was cold. Veins popping out everywhere. Tears threatening in his eyes. All these other things. But then when you look at season 2, through the echoes of Louis' memories, he's the most beautiful thing in the world. And so it's like, going back to Armand, how much did you alter to make Louis like hate this man so much that even his looks aren't the same? And even in season 1, you still get the thread of Louis, you know, the way that he's describing Lestat is still very much like, okay, real memories and real feelings are coming out. But then he would kind of always like shut it down, like putting a bottle on it and then basically just topping it off with how Lestat was like the worst fucking creature in the world. And then Dreamstat is like the one that you talk to, the one that you can confide in, and the one who you can share your insecurities with. And so Dreamstat kind of makes you go back to season 1. And for anybody who hasn't watched it, and this is what I told my wife as well, I was like, watch season 1, watch season 2, watch season 1. And anybody who is like, oh my god, should I watch the show? I literally tell them 1, 2, 1. You have to watch it in that order. Because in season 1, you're so blinded by your own madness that you skip over the parts where Louis comes home crying after being made a vampire because he's sad that he's never going to be a dad and that he doesn't have anything to offer in the world, and Lestat is there pouring into him. The wedding night, telling him, be all the beautiful things that you are and be them without apology. When Louis was pouting in his coffin and Lestat's like, what do you want me to do, babe? And he was like, I want you to buy me the fair play. And Lestat's like, bet, we kill all these motherfuckers and you can get whatever you want. Like, everything that I do for you. And so, when you're so mad about season 1 and all the things and the abuse and the trauma and everything like that, obviously, again, going back to memory being a monster, that's the thing that we're going to focus on. Now, we're not going, I am on Jacob Anderson's side, I'm on Sam Reed's side when they say if you watch this through just regular human morality and ethics and moral, like, and everything like that, then you might as well not even watch the show. It's not going to be fun. At the end of the day, they're vampires. They're murderers. They're manipulators. They hurt, they harm, they destroy, but they love. They're soft. They are insecure. They are intelligent. And so through the lens of all of these things, of course, season 1 is going to highlight the trauma because Louis is still trying to be a human. Then you go into season 2, and as Daniel and Louis spend more time together alone without Armand there, and little bits and pieces of memory are coming back, and they're both starting to have these dreams, it literally seals the deal that every time Armand was there, he was infiltrating and driving the narrative the entire time. But one thing that he could never, ever, 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 ever get rid of, Lestat. As seen by Lestat in Dubai. He could never get rid of him. And it really lets you know, like, the power of their love, the power of their core, the power of their companionship still couldn't be erased by, at this point, one of the oldest vampires that Louis knows. We know Akasha exists. We know about Ankill. We know about Marius and all these other things. Louis ain't never met them. And so the strongest person that Louis knows, Louis thought that he had an equal footing just for it all to come crashing down. And to realize that abuse is multi-layered, right? And in this situation, he got out of it, right? And then he goes back to Lestat. So I just really love how it was like, let's prop up the hate and be on Louis and Armand's side. And let's poke some holes in this. And let's give Louis some soft memories that make him twitch. Louis would twitch and cringe every time Dreamstot came. Every time he came, because he's fighting to hold on to this thing, to this hate. But his subconscious is like, this was my friend. This was my companion. This was my sounding board. To the point where he opening doors for an invisible man. You putting an umbrella over a man that's not there. You're complaining about your photography to a man that's not there and asking for his legitimate advice. Like, was it all bad? What's going on? Or did Armand amplify all of the terrible things? So I'm not saying that Lestat didn't do things. Lestat at the trial also talked about the things that he did. But because this season is going to be about the vampire Lestat, and because he's such a hyper emotional creature, I just feel like we're going to be getting all of the feels. We're going to be getting all of the feels, and I want that so much. Another thing I want. Ooh, okay, hold on. Where do I want to start? My mind is all over the place right now. Okay, this is like purely fan fiction. I want Lestat in 2025. I'm pretty sure the story is going to take place in 2025. I want Lestat in 2025 to be in therapy. And I do. I want jealous Louis. I want a Louis who's hunting and stalking Lestat's therapist and goes and kills him because he's like, how dare you not talk to me? How dare you go and try to get your life together? Chase me. Run after me. Like, I really want to see a Lestat that fights everything in him to respect Louis's boundaries of being by himself. Because at the end of the day, vampires, I feel like vampires can do casual, but I think with your companion heart, that don't work. Like, I believe in polyamory. It is what it is. I support both of them having hella people that they use for whatever pleasures it is that they desire. But I don't think that Louis could handle a Lestat that listens to him when Louis tells him, hey, let's just keep it casual. You know, I don't want to jump back into a relationship. You know, let's just start over and like see what we can do. And then and then Lestat actually listens to him, and then just like he texts him like every other week, maybe a few months. You know, he's being all polite. He calls him mon ami instead of mon cher. Like, and I need to see Louis being like, time out. I need Louis to have his, of course, I need to see Louis have this moment because he spent so much time denying his love for Lestat and denying that he kind of actually liked the crazy parts of Lestat. You like this man coming to you and being crazy over you and having such heightened emotions over you. And for Louis to then go through this journey of understanding that it wasn't about Lestat controlling him, it was about Lestat being controlled by Louis' love, that can just turn into an emotional reunion that is literally going to wreck us into pieces. I'm ready to sit on my couch, bawl my eyes out, text my friends, cry baby voice notes about how this is so beautiful. Like, I need it to be even more epic than Louis and Lestat's first time. I need it to be more epic emotionally than Louis getting dropped from the sky. I need it to be more emotional than the trial, and I need it to be even more emotional than the finale during the hurricane of season 2 episode 8. Like, their reunion needs to be like 2 episodes of them just destroying everything in their house because they getting it in. Like, show us destruction in a whole new way. We already saw them beating each other up in the coffin room. We need to see them beating each other up in the coffin. And you know, that's on an 11 p.m. Time slot. You know what I'm saying? TVMA, give us some more butt cheeks. AMC, what are you waiting for? Give us the buns. So yeah, definitely want to see that. To see Lestat be more restrained and put a name to what's going on with him. And I want Louis in therapy too. I just feel like the Louis that we know is not going to go to therapy just yet. I think he feels like he's too good for it. And his, you know, his Zen garden and, you know, the interview, you know, it's cathartic. He's like, okay, I already said all the things that I need to say. I already went through all the things I needed to go through. And so I feel like Louis would feel like he's above it. But the thing is, you have to restitch 77 years of memory. Sir, you can't do that alone. So I don't think that Louis, we'll see a Louis that's ready to fully accept what Armand did and accept that he needs more help. But I believe that both of them deserve the opportunity to have their human conditions named. Louis deserves to be told that he has like depressive mood disorder. Like, he needs to be told that. They deserve to be able to explore what happens to them emotionally so that they can try to contain it, if not for anybody else, but for one another. Honestly, I really don't care if they explode and kill everybody else. They're vampires, do it. I just need for them to be on one accord, and just be monsters together. Be soft and domestic with one another. Have silly, dumb arguments. Push each other maybe a little bit too far, but know how to come back from it without sweeping whatever destructive things that they just said and did to each other completely under the rug. And when you think about the type of abuse that even Lestat went through in his childhood, and not having the tools to create a family at all, to know that they're going to eventually move forward together, is to have Lestat at least get the help. And I think Lestat would be the most open to it. I think he genuinely wants to know why he is the way that he is, and I think that both characters deserve that. Another thing that they deserve: holding hands, walking down the street, Lestat twirling and skipping and spinning around, and Louis doing his little half smile that's only reserved for Lestat. They deserve to be so gay, and I need this to be a gay ass season. You know what I'm saying? We done already dealt with, you know, the little pinky caresses and walking with just a hair between y'all's shoulders, while Lestat, I mean, he really wasn't hiding. He was staring at Louis, burning a hole in the side of his head. Everybody knew he was gay. But really need to have these moments where Louis surprises Lestat and grabs for his hand, kisses him in public again, not just because you about to slit your man's throat, but just because I think another thing that's often misunderstood with Lestat is, as overwhelming as he is, he's giving what he seeks in return. And I remember making a tweet where I was like, if Lestat and Louis can love the other the way that they act, it would be a perfect union. Like, if Louis just gives words of affirmation to Lestat, you'll actually make him speechless, because he's only pouring out what he wants. And that's something I think that any human being can relate to, right? You initially get into a relationship, you love how you want to be loved, but that's not how the other person wants to be loved. It's not how they want to handle a lot of things. And so you have to know how to read that and how to understand that and how to adjust to that. And when you love somebody the way that they want to be loved, when you're speaking their language, they will then give it right back to you. So that thing that Lestat was talking about, like, I send my love and you send it right back to me, if they just learn how to speak the other's language, that will actually be true during their reunion. If Lestat just sits quiet and contemplative, maybe read some passages of Louis' favorite books, and then just sit and have conversations about that and the deeper meanings of what that is, we're gonna see Louis bounce on the shit, dance, bounce on the shit, no hands. Like, I told y'all this is gonna be obsessive, and I can't speak to the rating of this video, but just know, yes. So that's all they need. A little bit more words of affirmation from Louis and a little bit more silence from Lestat, and they're gonna be making more babies. They're gonna be making more babies in no time, because they just don't strike me as the type coming out of all of this. I feel like they would have like 6 more kids, like legitimately 6 more. You know, obviously we're not making young vampires. Let's at least have some adults, okay? But it would be cool to see them get some little fledglings, and, you know, Lestat maybe making it, or Louis making another vampire, but they both get to share into the blood sharing the way that Louis and Claudia did with Madeline. I think that would be very cute. I think it'd be very romantic and intimate. And they deserve some happiness. Like, our people deserve some happiness. But on the opposite side of that, I want Lestat to read this book, to read how he's been made to look, and the full story not being there. Like, if you're gonna tell a story, tell the story, right? Tell the whole thing. And so I'm looking for more emotionally unstable Lestat after reading this book, because I think a lot of that softness is going to come from this. And doing a documentary with Daniel, the way that Daniel's personality is, he not finna flinch at Lestat yelling and raising his voice and doing all of these other things. Like, no, Daniel isn't stronger than Lestat, but he is a very strong fledgling with a lot of good gifts right up front. But then Daniel himself, at like age 50 something, 60 something, walked into a den of vampires and was like, what? So he's not gonna be scared of him at all. And so I think we can really push and we can really prod. And this is gonna be exciting because Sam Reed, the actor, we're gonna see him go through so much. And I keep telling everybody, I'm gonna say it again, and say it again, and say it again. I've said it during my review of season 1, well, of the whole seasons of Interview with a Vampire. Before, I said it during the newsreader, and I'm gonna say it again. Sam Reed is one of the greatest actors of the 21st century, hands down. In this interview, Daniel is going to push Lestat into places that are uncomfortable, places that he doesn't want to go, places that I think he will try to fight physically out of. Like, Daniel was getting mind gifted whenever he was getting too close to whatever Louis or Armand didn't want him to know. Lestat looked like he about to throw the man. Lestat gonna throw Daniel ass across the room, and Daniel gonna laugh about it and get up and be like, okay, so when you're done, or are you just gonna continue to beat me like your dad and your brothers did? And then it's just gonna be an all-out brawl, and then by the time he sits back down and everything is cool, they both gonna have black eyes, bloody noses, and a wound gonna be slowly healing on his chest. And then he's gonna be like, I was 12 or some shit like that. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to a lot of that distraction happening as he's talking in an interview. And I'm looking for distance too. I need Lestat to create some distance between Louis for himself. Everything Lestat has done has been for somebody else and to his own detriment. And that is just sad. It's sad. You want to love everybody and they leave you, whether throwing themselves into the fire or just simply leaving and never coming back. Still finding a will to live. That's admirable and lonely as fuck. Like, Lestat is the loneliest creature on this earth, and that is just really sad. And I think a lot of people who relate to Lestat, just again coming from a human aspect, you know, keep in mind these are still vampires, but connecting with his story as a human. If you're somebody in real life who people always come to for advice, people always come to make themselves feel better, but then you have people in your life, those same people you can't go back and get the same thing from. People constantly taking from you and taking from your cup and never filling it back up. You're going to relate to Lestat a lot. The same way as people who relate to Louis are going to relate to having to hide themselves, being shunned by their own families, being blamed for the chaos and the trauma within their own families, and being told over and over and over that you're not good enough, even though they're using you, they're using your name to make a name for themselves. Then behind closed doors and even out in public, you're still a pariah in your family, you're still nothing. Like, you're gonna relate to Louis. So like the wars between the characters and the who's better and do all this other stuff, all of these motherfuckers are terrible. Claudia already said this. Every single vampire I met, fucking terrible. Assholes. They're all assholes. But remember that in these wars and these fights and whatever it is else that y'all be saying back and forth to each other, remember that we are looking at three, including Armand. We're looking at people who could have never imagined a world today with words and language to assign to their own abuse that they received, because the abuse that they received was normal when they were born. Like, y'all gotta remember that. How they've moved throughout the centuries, yes, they've, made money and did all these other things, but they were still made vampires at the age in which they were born and the time in which they lived, and that was normal. Nobody can foresee what the future would look like. So they all have an opportunity to look at the world and instead of looking at it like we're above it, this would be a good time for these vampires to actually sit with the world and figure out what they can get from this century. Because at the end of the day, Armand is just kind of like, he thinks he's bigger than the world. Like, let's be real. We ain't heard much, and I heard in the actual Vampire Lestat book, Armand has such a big storyline in it. Armand is so far beyond his trauma that I truly believe that his ego is bigger than what we've seen him display in seasons 1 and 2. Everything that he does is carefully curated, and I would love to see him break and fall apart and find out what happened to him that he's repressed and maybe mind gifted himself, I don't know, into being separated from. Louis was going on this whole, oh, I'm human, I'm not gonna eat humans anymore, I'm only gonna eat rats, and oh God, my humanity and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, what did he say at the beginning of season 2? I killed 7,000 men, and yet Lestat was the only one that felt like murder. Like, sir, you're not better than anybody. And so really need Louis to allow that pretentiousness, that pompousness, that arrogance to kind of fall away. And then Lestat, I think it became easier. The more lonely he was, the more he realized he wasn't getting love, it became easier to just be the monster. And it's like, no, you're finally up and in a world where this century and this year of 2025, it's a bunch of freaks on this planet who will accept you and will love you. So while you're waiting for Louis to say those words to you, I think that Lestat can allow 2025 and fans and just the energy of how we live in today's world to get love and to get some validation from his music, from his fans of his music, from the people who will just openly accept that he's a vampire, whether they believe it or not. Because in real life now, 2025, we don't care. As long as you out here, like, I'm not gonna say not hurt nobody because he still is a vampire, but there's just a level of acceptance that Lestat can get from this time period. And so between all three of them, this year can really shape them and then reshape their relationships with one another, right? And that would be really good to see. And so because I want to see that, I swear to fucking God, the Vampire Lestat better not be one season. The book has more pages than the first book in the Vampire Chronicles. So I'm going to need a season 3 and I'm going to need a season 4. I don't care about going all the way back into the past. Don't want to see a 20s Lestat. Would love to see a young boy Lestat, like 12, 14. But I think by the time we get to the 20s, I think they could pull off Sam Reed being 20 something with the wolves and everything like that. But I'm pretty sure he's aged up anyway from being turned in from the books. So depending on how they do it, they can really kind of switch up the past just a little bit, just a little bit. But I don't know that visually I want to see Lestat way in the past, right? Maybe explore some of that relationship and the truth about his relationship with Armand, because y'all, when I found out Armand was lying, like Armand was lying about the relationship, I said, yo, he literally told Louis that him and Lestat was in like some romantic relationship, and he lied. I was like, oh my God, this mofo is diabolical. Like diabolical. Clearly, like probably the most insecure of everybody. Oh my God. That was just wild to me. Because I don't even know what I think. That was wild. I need more of the Armand lore, because what made you do this? What made you do this, sir? But yeah, I don't want to go way back to when Lestat was like a human. Yes, we could do the past of him and Armand, and oh, I want to see, I know they was cussing each other out. I want to know in that tower when Louis Armand came to go see Lestat, and Louis was like, oh, this my new man now. And Lestat looked at Armand, and Armand was looking back. I know that they was going at it in their heads. I just know it, and I need to see this. Like, give us some outtakes. Give us some, what you call those? Cut scenes. Like, give us something, because there's no way. The way Lestat was looking at him, like, bitch, is you crazy? I will end this shit right now. And I know our mom was like, please, Lestat, please, no, baby, please, like, let me just have this. Listen, I promise I'm gonna make up for killing Claudia. And Lestat was in his head like, bro, he's gonna figure it out. When he does, we both gonna rip you to fucking pieces. Like, I just know that it was a hell of shit happening in their heads. There's no way that whole thing was silent. No way. I don't believe it. I don't accept it. Give it to us. Give it to us now, okay? So yeah, definitely want to see the tower scene for sure. I want to see the tower scene played out. And of course, just Lestat being by himself and meeting the band. I'm very excited about what this band will look. How much time am I gonna hear? I've been talking for forever. Oh, it's only been 35 minutes. I'm doing good. I'm excited to see the band casting. I know a lot of people are looking for Gabrielle casting, looking for Akasha casting, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But when I read these fanfics, when I read them in the book, I don't know, in my mind, as I'm reading them, I think this is one of the first times as I'm reading a book, like a lot of, so when you read a book, unless there's like very specific ethnic descriptions, most people just read people looking how they look, right? As I read about Tough Cookie, Alex, and Larry, they don't look like anything in my mind. And so I feel like that's telling me, I feel like I'm informing myself that we can cast people of different ethnic backgrounds. I don't want them to be white. I think as we've moved everything along and as we're doing this reimagining, I just don't think that it would be genuine to musicians now. Like the type of music that the band, the Vampire Lestat, is known for, if you look at who occupy those spaces nowadays, it's so many people of different backgrounds, different makeup. So it's like, to have it an all-white band would kind of be lazy. So I hope that AMC doesn't go that route. I mean, you think about the fans of what's that girl name? Like fans of Charlie XCX, fans of Willow Smith, fans of Jimi Hendrix, fans of Marilyn Manson, fans of Chappell Roan, who else? Rally Ritchie fans, Lil Nas X, Willow Smith. These are Doechii, Doja Cat. Like, if you really think about like a lot of the genre mixing and the genre bending of music today, they have many faces. So I feel like Lestat would want to honor that, especially given some of the racial implications that we saw in season 1, where, you know, Louis talking to him about being black, about, you know, not having access because he's black, and having an argument where he's telling Lestat, like, you don't understand, like, what the fuck, bro. And so I feel like going forward, because Lestat had he still has a black estranged husband and had a black daughter, I feel like Lestat would want to surround himself with people that reflect the family that he once had. And so as far as casting goes, I would really love to see that. It would make sense to me. Will I be mad if they're all white? Yes. Will I not watch the show because they're all white? No. But based on the influences that Roland Jones was saying, like the musical influences and stuff like that, it's such a diverse group. So I just feel like Lestat's band needs to reflect this, because I think it'll have greater influence for Lestat. Like, yeah, he's a vampire, but I think he can go in this and like curate a whole look with his band that reflects everybody that he wants to love him in the first place. Yeah. And then, I mean, you can get a more black audience in real life to watch the show. Lots of like rocker, emo black people, a lot of alt black people who aren't represented at all in a lot of these TV shows and a lot of these movies. Even in our own households, you know, we weren't allowed to put all the safety pins on our clothes and paint our nails black and put on eyeliner and do all these other things. You know, it was always said like, oh, you're not white. Like somehow being emotional, which is what emo means, is like just limited to whiteness. And so I think another great opportunity in casting black people, Asian people, just different people who just look different, people who are not white in the band, will do a really good job at bringing those people more into the fandom, so that we don't feel like we're alone or that we're so small, because the uglier side of this fandom is that the black people have to lean on each other, because when we express our obsessions, when we express our thoughts in our mind, we're told that this isn't for us. So that was like the serious thing. Gabrielle casting. Okay, so as I'm doing this, as of today, it's April 15th, which is tax day, but is now going to be turned into Lestat day. Less tax. Apparently at the upfront, they were giving out these lanyards that said like April 16th or whatever. And somebody on Twitter was like, oh, what do y'all think is going to happen? And so they put like 4 options on there that you could vote. I voted for the long face video, and it finally being released on Spotify. I know some people voted for Gabrielle casting, and then a lot of people said nothing. Like the majority of people said nothing's gonna happen. So now everybody's like on the internet like, oh my god, maybe this April 16th thing is real. Here's what I would like to happen on April 16th. And if something happens on April 16th, find me on TikTok, because there will be a TikTok video on April 16th. I want the video. I want the Gabrielle casting to be announced at SDCC this year. I guess I could flop those. They could do a Gabrielle casting tomorrow, and then whoever the actor who plays Gabrielle can then be on the panel for Comic-Con this year, and we can get some questions on what that looks like stepping into that role. We can get some fresh interview answers for that character, and then during Comic-Con we get the music video screened there along with a trailer for season 3, and then they can release publicly the video like at the beginning of August after Comic-Con. I think that would be a good thing to kind of get some exclusivity for the people who are there at Comic-Con to see the video and to see the teaser, and then immediately at the end of that weekend release the video and the song on Spotify worldwide. I think that would be so good. I'm in school for marketing. I graduate next spring, so my mind is always thinking about how can we stretch this marketing. And the fact that they're coming back in 2026, now is the time to like continue to keep the name in rotation. So I'm very curious as to what they do to keep this in rotation. Doing a Lestat in-story promotional tour that they announced on AMC's website is definitely very smart, but I think having controlled invite only, maybe like some fan winning tickets to controlled pre-recorded tour locations will be a good job, because then they can just drop those like every month or whatever, like, oh, Lestat in Chicago, I don't know, in August, and then that footage is released on YouTube, and it really is like a crowd of, you know, Sam Reed in character performing at a concert. And then, you know, September he's in LA, and then October, all leading up to like a final like beginning tour date. And they can treat this promotional tour as a very small up and coming band type thing, and then leading into the show, by the time we get to the show, we can start with modern day Lestat and the Vampire Lestat band already being super big. So AMC has the opportunity to use these little pop-ups in this promotional tour ahead of season 3 as like an in-story thing where the band has just formed and they're performing at small venues to get the buzz going. That way, in the show, they don't have to write that in there. We can just bypass that whole thing and not waste episodes on that if they just do these little things. Give me a... Bruh. I need to submit a job application to AMC. I need to submit a job application to AMC. I need to submit a job application to Interview with a Vampire, because I'm kind of eating. I'm kind of eating with this plan, right? I already know, so you ain't got to tell me. So that would be amazing. And I'm going to Comic-Con this year. Oh my God, I'm about to pass out right now. Like, I cannot believe that in 3 months I'm gonna be there. That's crazy. Okay, Akasha. Okay, again, this is marketing, this is fan. Y'all already know, I already see myself as Akasha. It don't really matter. I see myself as Akasha because Aaliyah was Akasha, and the reason I can see myself as Akasha because it was a black Akasha, and I'm gonna tell you right now, she better be black. I don't care about light skin, dark skin, olive tone, pink tone, peach. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about the diaspora. I don't care about colorism. I care that this is a black woman. Mixed, I don't care. Black. If you can get black Egyptian, like actually looking, you know, and somebody with that heritage, or black, oh my God, where did I originally read that she's from? Oh, in the lore, her, I think Iran, whatever the original name was for her is like modern day Iran, I think, before she ended up going down to Egypt, I believe. Anyway, black American, black, pick anything, black. Do they identify as black? Black. That's all I care about. And what I want. Okay, boom. Walk with me. Walk with me. I want 2 seasons for Lestat's story. 2. If somebody asked me to be a little bit more greedy, I would say 2.5. Okay, 2.5. Boom. want Akasha's story flushed out so much that I am willing to sit in delayed gratification of never getting an Akasha announcement until in season, season 4, episode 8, in show, world premiere, Akasha reveal. Listen. To me, the weight for Akasha is so strong that I think that Interview with a Vampire can hold that. You will have all of our beating hearts in your hand if you just wait. If you just wait until the season finale of season 4 of Interview with a Vampire and Lestat's story, and in that with him getting kidnapped, baby, seasons 5 and 6 is just gonna be in the bag. It's gonna be in the bag. Queen of the Damned is just not fleshed out. It's not fleshed out. Y'all know how I feel about it. I did a whole Queen of the Damned movie review in character as Akasha, dressed up, made my own words with the story that I know of her. And such a huge Aaliyah fan. Again, just her, along with Angela Bassett with Vampire in Brooklyn, making it possible to see us as vampires, the black vampires from True Blood, and to have her as the lead, and then getting justice and nostalgia for the Queen of the Damned movie, that might be their biggest season. The Akasha reveal would be the most watched episode, and I think the Queen of the Damned season would be at least that first season, exploring Queen of the Damned, season 5. I'm talking like I'm listen, when my friend said I need to be an exec, I need to be in the rooms, I need to be a showrunner, I need to be behind them scenes, putting in at work, like I'm already slipping into it. Season 4, episode 8, Akasha reveal, end story. Don't announce that shit before the episode actually airs. Go on a promo, be at SDCC, get all of your stuff in there. That will be the most watched episode in Interview with a Vampire history, and then season 5 will probably end up being the most watched season in Interview with a Vampire season since season 3. I feel like season 3 is about to blow everything out of the water. Not necessarily because of the story per se, but season 1, they dealt with COVID, so you couldn't really like promote or do anything. Season 2, the writer's strike, so you have to stop everything, and then you're looking back at your stuff and did what we do was good enough, and now we're jumping back in it, and so everything just kind of rushed. So, you know, hopefully, you know, things aren't getting like too crazy, and they get the room to promo and the room to have fun. And that's what I also think is with everybody that works for Interview with a Vampire, is it's fun. Regardless of the discourse, regardless of people having moral debates and existential crises, it's just fun. And they can have so much fun with this, stringing us along. Listen, AMC, more specifically, Interview with a Vampire. I am finishing up my first year of getting my MBA. I graduate next spring. Hopefully my graduation gift is the premiere of season 3. That would be lovely. I have over 15 years of experience in communications, in marketing, in public relations, in what's the word I'm looking for? Project management. What you need? What do you need? Because I promise you, like, I have a plan in my mind on how to roll this out, how to make AMC Interview with a Vampire even bigger. Even Mayfair Witches, because y'all be talking about a crossover. I already know, I already have a plan in my head for multiple seasons on how these things can work. So yeah, your girl is retiring real soon, and looking to start my next career. I've actually already started my next career because I'm not about to be like doing nothing when I retire in a few years. But I'm a woman of many talents, and I am a woman of many side quests. It ain't nothing to be on the promotional team for this show. Like, so just putting that out there, okay? Yeah, in show Akasha Reveal, season 4, episode 8, Queen of the Dam, season 5 and 6. Y'all heard it here first. And with that, y'all, oh my God, I have so much more to say, but I'm going to allow my heart to explode, and I'm gonna allow this energy to get me to do some other things. I literally thwarted all of my responsibilities to get on here and record this video. Like, everything I thought I was about to do, scrapped as soon as I opened my eyes. So shout out to y'all, shout out to the fandom, shout out to everybody that's working over there. Y'all, season 3, Interview with the Vampire 2026